Good morning and happy Wednesday, everybody in Benzinga Nation. It's Jonathan Mallard and Ryan Faloona here, and we're going to show you today one more way that you can trade with Benzinga Pro. And we're going to use some different tools available within Benzinga Pro, and you can start a free trial if you don't already have access at pro.benzinga.com. It's a free 14-day trial, no credit card required, so definitely check it out. But so Ryan, today we're looking at the movers tool and the details tool, how people can find stocks that are moving, and just one quick example of a potential gap and go strategy. So, where do we want to start here?
Well, you said it. We're going to start with the movers and the details tool. And a happy Wednesday to you, by the way, Jonathan. We actually have a preset for this tool too. So we're going to go ahead and pull up my screen here. One of the things that you're going to see is that when you build a new workspace, you're shown these presets here in Pro. And one of them is called the What's Moving Scanner. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. This will open up the combination of tools that you just mentioned, movers and details. Now, I actually already have one of these tabs because I use this combination every single day. Now, what's nice about this is that I know, everyone's trading style is different, and most traders that I come across end up using charts for some type of purpose, whether it be to figure out, what the range is, where the stock has been in the past, perhaps support and resistance levels. Perhaps there's a particular indicator or study that you use the most in your trading, and you can apply those here in the chart tool. The reason I like this combination is because it's very, very easy to show me what's moving so that I can spend less time picking out what tickers I'm going to chart and more time actually doing the charting or then getting ready for the trade to materialize. So on the left-hand side here, we've got the movers. I've got gainers, pre-market, and session selected. This is going to show me all of the stocks that are up across the pre-market. Now, obviously, at the time of this filming, we're in the regular market, so it's showing us the completed pre-market. But if you have this session selected and the pre-market is not yet done, it's going to show you all of the data up until that point. So keep that in mind. Now, what I like to do in the pre-market is I like to kind of set myself up technically for some of the plays that I see on the What's Moving Scanner. The amount of time that I have dictates how many tickers I actually go through. And you don't have to use a gap and go strategy for this. You can use any strategy that you're proficient in with any combination of indicators that you have experience with. For the sake of the example, we're going to talk about the gap and go. Also, because the market just really took a dive right out of the open here, which can really throw a wrench in your plan. So it's easier, I should say, to trade when things go the way that you think they do, but it might be a little bit more difficult when they go against you. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So right here, just looking at this, the first thing that I'm going to do, you'll notice that there's a volume and an average volume column. I'm not necessarily interested in some of these huge gaps on minuscule volume. So this first ticker here, ticker COHN, this traded 653,000 shares in the pre-market. That's not a lot. Now its average is only 9.6, right? So there's not many shares here. This is clearly more shares being traded here, but this is not something I would actually not do this just based on the volume numbers. Now, what's cool about this is that by having this set up, if our news desk figures out why a stock is moving or why a stock is putting in the gap that it's putting in, it's going to tell you. You can see here it's trading higher after the company reported a good Q4 EPS, and so that's why there's additional interest. And this is a huge gap here. If you did actually want to trade this, you can. It's just I'm weeding this out of my own personal list just because of the volume numbers. When I'm taking day trades, I want it to be liquid. I want to be able to get in and out. And I'm not sure that this stock is going to provide the liquidity that I want. I also have no edge on this stock. So again, the point here is that you can really go through this list fairly quickly. One of the things that I use to eliminate potential targets is volume. And that's what I did here on this first one. Now, if we click on the second one here, you can see that this is a little bit different. We actually traded over 13 million shares in the pre-market, and this averages about 2.5 million shares on the day. So what I would do in a situation like this is when I have pre-market data available, I want to use that as the basis for some of my technical analysis so that when the market opens, I can have the most relevant current information. So on an example like this, one of the things that I would absolutely do is kind of mark off these different support levels that were put in by the pre-market. I'm just marking off the bottom of these candles. You can do the wicks, you can do the bodies. In this particular case, I'm actually doing the bodies just because I feel like this is a little bit lighter. I'm going to get more of an accurate reading on the bodies of those candles. So what I would do here now is we've obviously gapped. If we're playing for a gap and go, what we're hoping is that the stock actually continues its upward move right after the market opened. So if I have a position, great, that's the easy part, right? If you're already in the stock and it gaps up, that's great. You can effectively trade against your target, whether it be a price or a profit loss target, whatever the case is. A little bit more difficult when you don't already have a position. One of the things that you'll want to do is add the stock at a support level, right? You want that stock to come in a little bit. You want to add on a support so that it doesn't continue its downside move, and then take off and actually do the go part of the gap and go. So what I would have done here in the pre-market is I would have marked off some of these levels. And if these levels hit when the market opens, then you can actually take your opening position. Now, this one, the reason that we kind of chose this is a pretty tough stock, right? We did actually kind of trade back in towards these levels at the end of the pre-market. As soon as the market opened, we moved from about 16 to 18 and immediately gave those gains back. You'll notice here that what we did is we actually traded back down to that level we marked off. We actually went beneath it to that second level that we marked off. It bounced a little bit and then gave those gains back. This is one of the things that you have to be ready for in a gap and go situation. It's possible that the stock continues to go, and if you're in it, that's great. You're going to have your profitable trade on your hand. But if the market today just really kind of just crapped as soon as it opened, there was no carry momentum. I think we had an ADP number that was less than stellar, and so so that's going to affect some of these other stocks that have gapped up in sympathy with the overall market from this morning. So in this case here, one of the things that we've done by marking off some of these support levels is we've also done half of the work to figure out what our stop is going to be. If the trade is not going to actually go, if it's not going to give you that second leg, then perhaps your thesis didn't work out on this particular trade. And that's not your fault. It's just not everything works in the market. So this tool, this combination of tools makes this very, very easy for me to identify. I don't have to spend time thinking about it. I can literally just react. So I've got these two positions here. I'm most likely waiting for an upside break right around 20 or 21. It doesn't look like we're going to get that anytime soon. So if I took this position out of the open and I don't think that the momentum is going to carry, I can actually confirm that with the volume. We're really kind of drying up here in terms of the volume, then this might be in time to consider exiting and waiting for re-entry. And what's great about this is that as the stock continues to trade today, you might get more, you are going to get more and more price data that can help determine whether or not you want to take a stab at the same name, or maybe find a different name. And what's cool here is that you can actually go through all of these stocks. Again, the Newsdesk is going to tell you why the move is in there. That catalyst might play a factor in your selection of which stock you're going to try to play for the gap and go, or whatever strategy it is that you use. Here's an example of a stock that I have actually owned for quite a while. I've talked about it a number of times on some of these shows here. This gapped nicely this morning, but I knew going in that, hey, my plan is to actually hold this for double digits. I'm long since the high 1 handle, right? I'm long since just under 2. And although the gap is great this morning and it feels awesome to be up on that, I know that this is not something that I'm going to play, right? I have a different plan in place and I'm going to wait for that plan. So if you wanted to trade this as a gap and go, you absolutely could have. We would have done the exact same thing that we just did on the last ticker, right? We want to mark off some of these levels. In case the stock actually gets back down to those levels, we know that that is support or close to it. So in this case, I actually would probably just draw 3 lines here, right? Draw from in the pre-market this level right here around 5. Let's actually just call it 5 for the sake of consistency. Let me actually just change this. All right, and then the 490, right? So we're giving ourselves a range. Remember, support and resistance levels are not just finite points in space there. It's more of like an actual range here. So one of the things that I'm looking for is I'm looking for a pullback to either 5 or 490. And you can see that when we actually did get that pullback, we did go past 5. We kind of bounced right around 490. It looks like we bounced back up here to around 6 before pulling back in. So when it comes to gap and goes, if you get the market that kind of opens a little shaky like it did today, and you don't actually get that go right out of the open, that's okay. There might still be an opportunity in some of those names later on in the morning, or perhaps even later on in the day. And now that I've gone through a couple of these stocks, I'm going to be able to watch this workspace throughout the rest of the day. And if it turns out that a trade materializes in either later in the morning or maybe even in the afternoon, I'm going to be ready to take advantage of that. So just to recap here, I love this setup. It's very, very easy to do technical analysis. You can use any strategy that you want that relies on technicals. One of the easier ones that we've talked about quite a bit is the gap and go. And today it looked like there were going to be a bunch of opportunities here. And then as soon as the market opened, we kind of had to play defense. So I like that this setup can actually allow you to do both of those things. So yeah, I mean, it's just it's a really great combination of tools, and it's really, really easy to use. And I think what I like the most about it is that I spend less time actually doing this and more time actually planning or looking for new plays.
Yeah, that was a great explanation, Ryan. And just while we're on here, if you can just click on the indicators button, it looks like your drawing tool box is
You're right.
that up right now. I just want to show our users, if you're looking for RSI and EMA line, whatever you're looking for, you can add that very quickly on the chart. Also, pay attention to the news items. We saw those "why is it moving" headlines at the top of the details tools. The movers scanner is a great way to learn how to trade off of the news. You just click through all these tickers. If you want to start with the charts like we did today, you can click through all those charts first. But there's also that news tab. So I always encourage people, if you're learning how to trade off the news, this is the best way to get accustomed to which types of news items are going to cause these outsized moves that we're all looking for. So yeah, you can just click on that news tab, and you can see we have highlighting from our news feed. We covered that in a different segment. But, you can see it right here. They're tagged with things like biotech, movers, trading ideas. Right here we have contracts. Yep. So these are the items that cause the big moves. But if you didn't catch that item right as it came out in our news feed, then that's what the movers tool is there for. That you'll know as soon as it's moving, and you can take advantage of that opportunity.
Hey Ryan, can I throw you a quick audible from chat?
Yeah, do it.
UWMC.
Oh, this is a favorite. We've talked about this one quite a bit on the shows. So this is kind of exactly what I was talking about, right? If you're ready, if you've prepared right before the open for this type of move, I mean, obviously we're kind of gapping up here in the open, but again, this pulls as soon as the market opens. So, I mean, if you're going to buy this right at the open, you're immediately going to be in pain. The better thing to do here is to, oops, I clicked on the wrong indicator or the wrong drawing tool. The better thing to do here is wait for the trade to come to you, right? And one of the ways that you can do that is you can use some of the different price levels that were put in the pre-market as guides to where you actually want or hope to find support here. Now, as you can see, as soon as this stock opened, it really kind of blasted through some of these levels. There was definitely a battle around 1050 that ended up failing, and now it looks like we're bouncing here. So again, in the moment, if you're taking a long position and you're seeing the stock sell off in your face, it can really kind of either make you question your own plan or spook you. But if you wait for the trade to come to you and you use some of the data that you were given here in the after-hour session yesterday and then again in the pre-market today, you might have yourself set up for a better trade here. This stock, in this particular stock, I'm glad that you brought this one up. In this particular stock, we've talked about this quite a bit on the happy hour show in the afternoon, and you can also use some of the other charts here. I mean, we were in kind of a really nasty downtrend here, and we really bounced. So we want to see this bounce hold before making a move towards the new highs.
And is this United Wholesale Mortgage? Because I know Rocket was up like crazy yesterday. UWM Holding, is that a separate company or the same company?
That's what you're thinking of. That's it.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you could also click on the peers tab and check out any peer companies that it looks like this one's not updated, but usually you'll see a whole bunch of different peer companies Like in this case, I was thinking of Rocket, which is up 40 or 60% yesterday. So always interesting to see those correlations there. But I think that about wraps up our time for today. But I think Ryan did the majority of the heavy lifting. So thank you, Ryan, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
All right. Let me bring on somebody from our news desk, Randy Elias. So that was a good segment on like how to use one feature in Pro. Randy Elias is a member of our news desk, and he's posting headlines in Pro all day. He's going to walk us through a couple headlines on his radar, and we'll walk through what the Pro newsfeed tells us about them. So Randy, bring you on here. What's up, man? How we doing? Oh, wait, you're on mute. My bad. How about now?
Can you hear me now?
We hear you now. What's going on, man?
All right. Not much, man. More sell-off from the tech stocks, but there seems to be a lot of stocks that are still trading up.
Yeah, looking at the Nasdaq getting down 1.4% today. Russell's holding strong. Go small caps. All right, let's talk about what's on your radar here. What news are you watching right now, or what stocks are you watching right now?
Well, you said let's go small caps, so let's go to Cohen & Co. COHN.
COHN. This is not one that I'm super familiar with. Let me bring up my news feed here.
So they reported Q4 earnings yesterday after the close. Or no, I'm sorry, it was pre-market this morning. And they had year-over-year gains, like significant gains.
Whoa.
So they reported sales of $66 million, which was up from $16 million year-over-year. And
now EPS,
and
4.5.
EPS, yeah.
Jeez.
It was a huge increase year-over-year. The reason why this one's on my radar, it was the top gainer of the day. It still is. It's up 136% for the session. The stock averages 9,000 shares. Average volume is 9,000 like on daily, and it has 2.9 million today.
Let's see if we can get this chart up there. Whoa! Look at that. This is a daily chart.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So this stock is really booming today.
But let's go intraday. Let's look a little bit. Okay, so you can see there is somebody chasing at 50. Above 50.
Yeah.
But it looks like for now, at least we've settled in, which you know you like to see. You like to see a stock consolidate, form a little bit of a base. Obviously, in the pre-market, there's no liquidity. There's no real volume. So.
Yeah. It just has significant volume, significant sale figures. So it was on my radar for this morning.
Jeez. And the conference call didn't even happen yet. 11 a.m. Right?
Yeah.
That's what we say in Pro.
11 a.m. Yes, sir.
Dear Lordy. All right. So they had earnings, and it was halted. It's out of the halt now, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Shares resumed at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
right? So it's a 5-minute circuit breaker halt. Wow. Okay. That's your big mover of the day.
Yes, sir.
Small caps. What else is on your radar?
Just like everyone else, rocket companies.
Oh my goodness. This thing was a rocket yesterday.
Yeah, it was a rocket for the past 3 days, man. This thing's just been rallying since their earnings, and then it became like a Reddit favorite yesterday, and the stock jumped like 60%. I read a Benzinga article that Dan Gilbert gained $25 billion in wealth in one day. Just yesterday, he made $25 billion.
Jeez.
And the stock is down 18% today, which, kind of saw it coming for jumping how high it jumped. It got a downgrade by RBC Capital.
They're just stepping in front of a train, right?
Yeah.
What's interesting is when yesterday and the day before, maybe people were asking, "Oh, is this the next GameStop? Is it going to 100? Is it going to 200?" But
I was asking the same thing. Sorry, I was asking the same thing. I'm like, is this gonna go to 100, 200? Are we gonna wake up and see that GameStop's up 60% today, or are we gonna see that it's down like 20 or 30? There was no in between, So it was definitely gonna.
Well, Rocket's down 19% right now.
Yeah.
So the pre-market high, look at that. What's that? 48. What is that? 48.
Yeah, 48.
48.64 was your pre-market high. We are well off that here. So hey, it's paid to buy the dip. Not saying buy the dip, but it's worked in this market most of the time. So, all right, what else is on your list here?
DraftKings. So,
they had some news this morning.
Yeah, they have a deal with Dish Network. They're gonna bring their sports books and daily fantasy experience to the Dish TV Hopper platform.
So that's like Sling.
Yeah. So it's just another way for people to access their sports book, like on their phone. You could just watch a game, take out your phone, and just place a bet. But now you can just like do it on your TV. It's just another easy way of placing a bet. And I think now, like, people that didn't even know like what DraftKings were and they could have Dish could like get some access to like DraftKings. Get
Interesting. So Dish is up 2.5% today on this draft. They're up the same amount, which is interesting. Dish has not been a favorite. But that being said,
well, yeah, Dish not been a favorite, but it's up, like you said, 2.5%. And I'm looking at this as now like a competitive play. If you pull up Fubo,
sure,
Fubo's down 13%.
Yeah, that's definitely a logical pair trade right there.
So like there's three things I'm looking at for Fubo. Are they going to like do a similar idea that Dish did? Are they going to do a deal with Penn, maybe DraftKings, FanDuel? Will they integrate an app onto their platform? Are they going to just not try to compete with Dish? And another reason why I was looking at it was they also had earnings. Fubo had great earnings yesterday after the close. They beat on their sales, they raised their guidance, and still sold off like crazy.
Those questions you had, Randy, about what they're going to do with sports betting, we're going to ask them on Friday. We got the CEO of Fubo on Pre-Market Prep, David Gandler, 9:00 Eastern time Friday morning.
Awesome.
We will be able to get some questions. We hope get some answers to those questions.
I didn't even know that.
Now you do. Yeah. Now you do. All right. What else was on your list here from this morning? What other stocks?
I was looking at Michaels.
Michaels
company.
Did they report earnings? They did report earnings.
They announced an M&A deal, so they're going to be acquired by Apollo Global Management.
What time did this come out? I think I completely missed it.
9:15.
That's why I missed it.
Yeah, busy. So they're going to be acquired for $22 per share.
Oh,
the transaction is valued at $5 billion.
Look at that.
So it is a big premium. The company was valued at, market cap was $3.2 billion. So
let's see. So it closed yesterday. Where are we? The second. So it closed yesterday at what, $18? And what'd you say the price was?
22.
22. And that's where it is.
Yes,
it's
sir.
trading right there. They're saying this one is it's trading above that. It's trading at 22.13.
Yeah.
13-cent premium.
The stock got halted before the news came out.
Sure.
Then once the news came out, it was at 22.
Wow. It's actually trading 12 cents, 13 cents above the takeover price. You don't see that every day. That's interesting. All you people buying Michaels at 22.10, 22.11, you're going to lose 10 or 11 cents when that deal closes. But interesting. Okay, Michaels is going off the board. Apollo Global. Is that APO? That APO is a company that's doing the taking over. Private equity firm. They're huge.
Yeah, they also announced another acquisition. They're going to be acquiring the Venetian Resort and Sands Expo and Convention Center from Las Vegas Sands.
Okay.
So for $2.25 billion. They announced that at 6:30 this morning. So they announced a couple of acquisitions.
This stock does not move.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone from 20 at the pandemic lows. This is APO. This is Apollo Global. They've gone from 20 to 50, which for that is a huge move. But this thing is stodgy. I guess if you go back a few years, but this thing is stodgy. Private equity, stodgy. All right. We got a couple minutes left. Randy, was there anything else on your radar, or was that pretty much the extent?
I have Lyft on my radar.
Lyft. I haven't looked at Lyft for a hot minute. What's going on with Lyft?
They reported ride shares for February. They were up 4% month over month.
Oh, okay. That doesn't seem that high to me. Doesn't seem good.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that high to me or but the stock's up 5%. I guess people liked it more than we did, Spence. So
well, if we go to daily, we can kind of get a sense. Well, okay, look at Lyft. Lyft didn't really participate last year at all, as you would assume, right? Because it's a reopening trade, but the reopening trade's back on now. We got the vaccine rollout. We got cases going down. Look at Lyft in the past couple of months. Look at Lyft since November.
Yeah, and like
It's tripled.
Yeah, Lyft's definitely on a tear. And like speaking about Lyft, like that like brings me to Uber. You know, keeping an eye out on Uber for a sympathy play. They're up 2% for the day. And they also had some news yesterday.
What was their news?
They might. So there was a Bloomberg article. Uber spins off robotic delivery unit.
Okay, so they get some cash.
Yeah, not sure how much exactly, but you know that was some good news. Get some cash.
Uber really hasn't moved as much as Lyft. Uber, of course, is more diversified, right? They've got Uber Eats.
Yeah.
They've got the self-driving car thing that they're doing.
For sure.
They're a lot more diversified. Lyft is like a pure ride-sharing service. Thank you.
Right.
Couldn't think of the word there. All right, 1056. That's very interesting. I hadn't noticed that Lyft chart, but it would make sense. If you go to the movers tool in Benzinga Pro, see what's up the most, what's down the most. I've got some filters on here, but we can see Veritiv, VRTV is your leading gainer of the day, at least for me, because I filter out anything. I filter out small caps. I filter out micro caps. I filter out anything that's lower than $5, anything lower than $300 million market cap. So for me, VRTV and Ocugen are my big and Michaels are your big gainers of the day. My big losers, Biotech, VIR, Rocket, which we discussed, and Sterling Construction, STRL, not a name I am familiar with. All right. Randy Elias is on the Benzinga news desk. Randy, we know your eyes are glued to the screen all day. You have anything you're watching as far as events after the close, earnings on your radar?
I haven't really gotten a chance to look at the earnings that were after the close. Do you know who's reporting?
Let's see. Well, we can hop into the calendar. Get my screen. Let's go into the calendar and get rid of GameStop.
I thought maybe you'd
make this a little bigger. I always know who's reporting. What's today? The 3rd?
Yeah.
All right. After the close on the 3rd. I like to go bottom to top here. So, actually, let's just sort. Let me zoom out. Let's sort by estimated revenue. See the biggest companies. American Eagle, Splunk. Don't see too many. Snowflake, that's a big one.
Yeah.
SNOW, that's a big one.
Marvell Technology, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
guys, there's a ton of useful stuff here in Pro. Trip.com, Chinese name, interesting. A ton of useful stuff in Benzinga Pro. All right, Randy Elias is on the Benzinga news desk. Randy, thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks a lot, Randy. Make that money. 10:58, guys. We got SPAC's attack coming up right about now. The CEO of a SPAC will be on. Matt Higgins is the CEO of Omnichannel Acquisition. The ticker on that is OCA. He'll be on at around 11:15. So the link to the show is pinned in chat. It's also in the description of this video. So check that out. I want to give you guys plenty of time to get over to that stream. So I'm going to hop off here and we'll let you get over to SPAC's Attack with Chris Kachi, Mitch Hodge, and Matt Higgins from Omnichannel Acquisition. Again, link is in the description and in chat.